Morning everybody, this is Richard Scott from Moor Crown Towing. Just want to basically mention about double brokering. It's basically a scam which comes in many forms. It can be somebody who's literally posing as a trucking company. They've managed to set up a bond and insurance, everything's on monthly instalments, and then they'll go around on the load boards and target independent businesses, dealers, shippers and stuff, and then they'll book that with that fake trucking company, and then they'll also the scammer will also have a fake brokerage as well, which they've only just set up recently, and then they'll post a load. So we've got two vehicles coming out of Tulsa in Oklahoma going to Texas near Houston. So $1.91 per unit. 471 miles. That calculates on a per unit. The per units. Hold on 2 secs. Let's get a better focus on that. Let's see if you can see it. But yeah, so it's basically two transit vans. And I really want to get out of Oklahoma. I've been running around Oklahoma doing lots of internal stuff, and I've got one vehicle which is actually going to heading back to Texas. So I thought as a breakout job, that's okay, because it's just two transit vans. It works out at just short of $4 a mile, which is not amazing, but still, you know, it gets me back into Texas. Now this has got a big red flag all over it. It was posted an hour ago. If I refresh this now, it will probably disappear off the board, so I don't want to disappear it, because I did actually phone the customer. But one big red flag of a double broker, but it also could be legit as well. That's a hard thing to find out, but this screams double brokering. So if you click general info, it will tell you all about, you know, the vehicle information, where's it coming from, pickup date and so forth, and telephone numbers to call. This company here, WPG Transportation LLC 2, and then it also says text, and it's just got a number. Now some brokers do that. I find it very annoying. I like to speak to people and know who I'm dealing with, but that's always a red flag if it's just text only, but don't answer the phone when you try and ring it. Another red thing you can do, another red flag, is you can click the company. It'll show them listed as a broker, so broker type, broker. The join date was literally, we're now on the 26th of January, yeah? It's the 15th of January, so this place has been open 11 days, right? Now, that could be a new thing, because this guy might have been doing brokering through his carrier business. You know, he's running a trucking business, and he's probably doing brokerage on the side. He doesn't have a proper broker license. Is somehow got broker status on Central Dispatch, even though he's not a broker. But that's a big red flag when the company's only been open for a short period of time. But because of recent changes on Central Dispatch, you basically, a lot of carriers or people who were bona fide brokers but weren't actually proper legit brokers, but were still actually conducting business as a broker and being, you know, and paying people, they've now been forced to get in a broker account because Central Dispatch changed the terms and conditions where carriers can't post loads anymore. So it's forced a lot of those people who were acting as brokers, who are actually carriers, to pay for a brokerage account, yeah? And it looks like Central Dispatch don't care if you actually have a broker authority or not, because it looks like they just give you one anyway, as long as you're willing to pay the subscription fee, which I think is disgusting, because I think that's just opening up the platform to fraud if it hasn't been verified via the FMCSA website as a broker. Now, I've done some Google searches for this WPG Transport, so it's WPG Transport LLC. If you just put that into Google, well, this is another page, let's open another page. And if I put in snapshot, and it should go to the FMCSA site. Now, the only one I'm getting for any sort of like reference to WPG Transport is this WPG Transport LLC, and that is it. So there's no LLC 2, yeah. So it looks like this company is just operating under the same LLC, and it says it's a carrier. It does say it's active. The address does match. That's another thing you can check. So this address here should match what you're seeing here. Actually, it's different. Is it different? 15553. So we're getting a totally different address on here as well. It's pretty, yeah, it's just South Miami, Florida. So we're getting a different address. So that's also another red flag. If the address doesn't match, because it's showing 157 West Squire Johns Lane. I also like to look on Google to see where the address comes in at. Actually, I think yeah, that was it. That was that address. So that's the address on Central. And that's what came up on Google. So it's basically some houses. It's hard to know if that's a legit address. It could be an apartment or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, that might be an apartment, it might be a house. But anyway, it might be legit. It might be literally just somebody running a brokerage company which doesn't properly have its broker authority. But there is some weird little law where you can run a brokerage or broker loads out as a carrier if you're going around and collecting up jobs and then putting those in a certain location and then brokering those out to other carriers. Apparently there's some law, I can't remember what it's called, somebody told me about it once. I'll have to get some information on that. But again, it's a massive red flag. Some people do operate like this. I've booked a couple of jobs from carriers who are posing as brokers. I've even posted a couple of jobs through my car hauling business on Central before we made all the changes. So it can be legit, but it's a big red flag. Addresses don't match. Company's been open literally 2 weeks. No reviews whatsoever. It's never been rated. So it has 0 ratings. Even going back to here, it shows their old system ratings, nothing. The new system ratings, nothing. You know what I mean? Thing is though, it might be legit because a lot of the scammers like to manipulate this, and they'll literally get other people and other scammers to rate their company to give it loads of ratings in a short period of time. Now, if these aren't scammers, then they'll probably try to build this up legitly, and that's probably why they haven't manipulated it. Another thing which I was surprised at as well, the scammers always ask for lots and lots of information on, like, pictures of the truck. They want your insurance, they want your W9, they want all this information, right, which is normal. But they want to make sure that you're legit and you're not going to turn up and just, you know, steal the cars and send out a ghost truck, yeah. So they want to make sure that the people who are taking the cars are actually going to get deliver the cars, so the scammers get paid. These guys obviously have just gone by my history. They've probably looked at my history on Central, seen that I'm pretty legit and been there a long time and stuff, 100% ratings, and basically assigned me the job straight away, yeah. They didn't ask for insurance or anything like that. That does happen on Central, but not all the time. So anyway, going back to, they've just sent me a notification now, so I just got a request straight through after sending a text message saying, is it available? Pick up today, can drop off in 3 days, blah 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 blah. They said they signed it straight away, no messing about. So that can sometimes be legit, because I've come across a lot of brokers who don't want to be, you know, sometimes that's the best type of broker, where they just assign it straight away, they don't fuck about. But it's just really shifty that this company doesn't have any brokerage authority. Now, I did ask them, is it cash on delivery? And they said 3-day pay, which again is a massive red flag. I might tell them, look, I want cash on delivery on this one because you've got no history, you're a new company. Another thing I looked at as well, I saw this here, this WPG Transport LLC. This is just a website, third-party website, brokersnapshot.com. I don't know how old the data is on here. I mostly go by the FMCSA website because that's obviously a little bit more up to date. I don't know how long it takes to update the entity operating status because it does say active on here, but when I look on here, it's showing as not authorised, which again is another big red flag. Again, yeah, the address and everything's the same as what's on the FMCSA website for that one. But this is a carrier. Also, looking at his, it's another big red flag as well. On my FMCSA snapshot, I've literally got motor vehicles and drive away tow. That is it. I'm a towing company. I'm a vehicle transportation business. And only classifications I have are these two classifications here, because that's all I move. This guy's got all sorts. This guy's like a normal trucker. He's got general freight. He doesn't even have motor vehicles and on there, logs. So he's like a flatbed guy basically, and fresh produce is probably a reefer, all that stuff, right? He probably just does the lot, dry van, reefer, flatbed. Anyway, or he's probably just a reefer guy who also uses his truck for dry van, which I don't think you're supposed to do. Anyway, so lots of red flags around here. I booked it anyway because I wanted to phone the customer up to find out exactly who's booked this job. I want to speak to the customer and I want to find out. I might tell them, because of the broker they've used, and the broker doesn't have the proper authority and is new and all the rest of it, that it's going to have to be cash on delivery, or I'm going to cancel the job. I'm not going to do it, because there's just a lot of things on this which are screaming you might not get paid. Because if he decides not to pay me and disappears, then what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Am I going to go off to an unauthorised business, or a business at a different address to what's showing in Central? Am I going to be going for I probably won't ever get anything off his bond because he's not a broker. He don't have a broker license. So this is just all, very suspicious. This is what I was a bit concerned about. It does say not authorised here. I don't know how long this website takes to update. Again, it just shows he's got one truck. He's a one truck guy. And that's it. It's pretty much, this is supposed to be, this literally takes the data off the FMCSA website. So I don't know why it's saying unauthorised. It might have just recently become authorised again. I don't know, and this is not updated quick enough. It's hard to say. Anyway, let's have a look at the job. Oops. And going back to his all ratings as well. So he's got his all ratings, nothing. So he's never been rated. But everybody's got to start somewhere, right? And if we're just going to listing, oops, wrong one, sorry. We're just going to dispatch to me. My internet's gone off. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Okay, so sorry. So it's been dispatched. Let's do a review quickly on this. Again, it can be legit. Sometimes I've dealt with transporters who are posing as accept that. I'll just yes. So let's accept it. It just sent me a text message saying I've sent it. So I've just accepted it because I'll keep him at bay. Now let's have a look at the address. So it has two different contact numbers on here. So I'm going to phone these numbers up. I'm going to speak to these buyers. I'm going to speak to the buyer. Sorry, the person at the pickup location. I'm going to speak to the delivery information. I want to get to the bottom of what's going on with these vans and who have booked it through. I think that's probably the best way you can really get to the bottom if it's being double brokered. It might be a legit thing. These might be just like, sellers or guys who are dealing in vehicles but don't have all the licenses and stuff. I don't know. And then obviously they're just using a trucking company to try and post that up on Central, who's made a bit of a business out of it. But hopefully if these guys, generally the customers are unsuspecting, third parties in all of this, they can literally just go through a broker or somebody who they know who's a broker. It gets posted on Central, gets shipped, and then the guy at the other end doesn't know anything about it. Now, I'm going to phone them. I'm going to ask them who they booked it through, who the you know, who the broker is, and then I'm going to ask them, I'm going to tell them, I've looked at the broker's credentials, he isn't a broker, I can understand that now and again, but because there's so much fraud going on, I will not ever accept anything apart from cash on delivery now for this job, otherwise I'm just going to have to cancel, it's too high risk. And then if this guy's got an issue with it, I'm just going to say, look, sorry, you're not even registered as a broker, you've been open 2 weeks, unless it's cash on delivery, this is the only way I'm going to accept these, take these cars, otherwise I'm just going to cancel, because it's just too high risk for me. But that's probably the best thing you can do now to try and like get to the bottom of the double brokerage. Also, this Justin Pierce guy, or this Greg Herring guy, if they have never heard of this company, they don't know anything about it, and it has been double brokered, then what you could do is just say, look, I'm a transportation business, this is being posted on Central, I've got the VIN numbers of your vehicles, I can pick them up and we can do this direct, cut out this whole dodgy broker guy basically and ship these direct. Now there's a good chance that these might have been booked at a really low rate, and then he's reposted those at a higher rate to get me to deliver it, and then he'll get paid off this original customer. He might have booked it under another trucking company, or he might have booked this under his trucking company, reposted it under his brokerage at a higher rate for somebody like me to come along and book it, deliver it, and then when I send a notification saying I've delivered it, he'll then notify his customer I've been paid, sorry, it's been delivered, and then he'll get paid off the customer, and then I will be waiting for this trucking company basically, WPG Transport, saying, hey, where's my money, and they just either disappear into thin air. Like I said, they've been open 3 weeks. Now the only thing I do have on them is this trucking company and this address. It could be legit, but it screams double broke, and even if it's not being double broked, it screams somebody operating as a broker without a license, which, you know, fair enough, that's one thing, but then if anything goes wrong or I don't get paid, then it's going to be a load of pain on my side. I'm going to get screwed basically. So unless it's cash on delivery, I won't even touch this job. So I think that's where I'm going to stand with it. There's too much fraud going on in this industry right now to get screwed, and yeah, I think that's the best way you can try and handle this situation. Or if anybody comes back as a carrier and they're acting as a broker, or they've been open for a couple of weeks, then the best thing to do is just not bother doing it. Otherwise, you're opening yourself up to getting ripped off. Anyway, so I thought that I'd just give you a little, you know, insider view on what double brokering is. Some of it's worse than that, you know what I mean? That might be a legitimate, like, legitimate job, basically. Like somebody who's a carrier, who's acting as a broker, who's doing some jobs for some friends of his who work in the industry. Now, you know, that can happen, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of people who are just out there, literally just going around booking other jobs as a fake carrier, reposting it. Carriers like me come along, pick it up, deliver it, and then they just disappear after a month. They'll do like a 30-day pay, but after 30 days, you're chasing them up after 30 days, and then they're gone. You know what I mean? And they've done that like 50, 60 times, maybe even more, and there's probably like a group of 5 people, and they've all got 5 companies and making thousands of dollars, and then they just disappear. And then all they've got down in that is a monthly instalment on an insurance policy, a $1,500 bond, an LLC, you know, setting up an LLC, maybe a PO box or some random address, and that's it. You know what I mean? And they might have made 30, 40 grand, because like say these jobs are like 2 grand, 3 grand, and they've done that. Say he's done that 10 times, he's just made 30 grand because somebody's just delivered those cars and he's not paying them, and he's just got paid 2 grand. He might have posted it for 3 grand. He might have accepted it initially for 2 grand. You know what I mean? So he's just made 2 grand. So if he'd done that 10 times, he made 20 grand for doing nothing, and he might have had to spend like, you know, 1.5, 2 grand on insurance payments just to get everything all set up on a broker side stuff, and that's it. You know what I mean? And if they're doing this times 5, you know what I mean, or there's 10 of them, a group of 10 Russian guys, all in a foreign country somewhere, they're not even in the US. So you've just made, you know, you just turned 20 grand to times 10. That's like 200 grand. You know what I mean? And that's why I think they're just doing it so much, because there's so much money involved. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so rampant. And everybody now is a suspect now. Anybody who's even doing it like on the low key, but you know, not even acting as a, you know, anybody who's basically sort of like doing the brokerage thing on the side, but they're not fully legit, but they're still paying people, they're also getting screwed now, because there's so much fraud out there. Nobody trusts anybody anymore. So really, the government really need to crack down on people. There needs to be an escrow system set up, so money's paid into an escrow. Any new company who comes on board on any legitimate load board, any e-commerce load board, should be mandated to have an escrow for the first year of operation. So all the money gets paid into an escrow, and if anybody doesn't get paid, if the carrier doesn't get paid or anything like that, automatically that money is in that escrow. And I think they have to I think the broker would have to put their own money in an escrow, so they'd have to put like 10 grand in an escrow prior to being able to operate, and then all the payments then come out of that escrow, and the escrow is constantly topped up. So if anybody doesn't get paid within 12 months of operation, then escrow money is then, you know, you can file a complaint, whatever, to the broker, to the load board of the FMCSA, and anything what's not being paid, once all the bill of landings and everything all being generated, able to calculate the rate, and then basically the carrier gets paid. And until that's in place, there's always going to be this fraud in place. There's always going to be these people, these foreign individuals, should I say, who are basically posing as American companies, posing as American brokers, posing as American trucking companies, and don't actually have any assets whatsoever, and are just totally manipulating the system, because this is rampant in the car hauling industry, even more so, because you're dealing with a lot of smaller companies. You're dealing with individuals and private, you know, people who are basically, who've never dealt with this industry before. So it's so much easier to trick people compared to like the normal trucking industry, where it's like bigger companies and stuff like that. They're obviously, you know, they've got departments who deal with this all the time, so they're probably more aware of double brokering, fake brokers, all that type of stuff. But in the car hauling industry, you're getting a lot of people who have never moved a car before. You're getting a lot of, you know, people who are just running a shop. You know what I mean? They don't care. They need to get a car moved. Might have a problem. The customer wants a car. They just post it on Central as a shipper or a car dealer. Car dealers should know better, but a lot of them don't. They literally just post something. They sell a car, they post it on Central, boom, they'll assign it to anybody with an account. They don't even ask any questions. They don't look to see how long we've been in business for, anything. So I've spoke to people, spoke to dealers, and they're like, oh, they're not even aware. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, how does it all work? You know, how does double brokering work? They don't even know what double brokering is. You know what I mean? So my advice is to a lot of brokers is don't even get a Central account. Set up with Super Dispatch. Super Dispatch seem to have a better vetting process, better checks for carriers and brokers. So Central Dispatch right now is like the Wild West of car hauling. It's they don't care. All they're bothered about is the subscription fee, and they'll let these bad actors continue doing this, because they're getting paid $150 a month for every single subscription on there, and there's hundreds of thousands of people on there. They're making an absolute fortune, so they don't want to close their accounts down. You imagine you got like 1,000 fake accounts on there, fake brokers, and they're paying $150 a month, times that by 1,000, they're making millions. You know what I mean? Just off those fake accounts, and then you got all the legit accounts. So it's just, you know, Central Dispatch need to be basically. There needs to be new legislation come out, not just for Central Dispatch, but all load boards, because all load boards just turn around and go, oh, we're just a e-commerce site, we're not a broker, we're not a dispatcher, we're not a carrier, they're literally just a place where everybody meets, and that's it. But that's just not the case at all. They play a big part. They're a major player in the whole e-commerce, freight forwarding, dispatching, brokerage game, basically, and they need to be regulated on the type of tools and the type of platforms they manage. They need to have certain checks in place and escrows, and you know, all these things where if there's a certain amount of complaints about a specific broker, especially when they're new, they get shut down immediately, because it's never going to stop. It's going to get worse, because it's actually easier to set up a fake brokerage than it is a fake carrier. There's a lot of fake carriers out there, but you don't need all the assets, you don't need the drivers. These guys can do it from the sofa in Russia, or in Africa or wherever, you know what I mean? And as more people are realising it's harder and harder and harder and harder to make money in trucking right now, with all the over-regulation and the costs and the low rates and all that type of stuff, some people are just resorting to going into being a fraudulent brokerage because they can see how much money is being made. You know what I mean? And I think it's disgusting that the administration, the people who are working at the FMCSA, are just not doing this at all. You know, we got people. You know, but the person who runs the FMCSA, she worked in, like, I don't know, something to do with single parenting or something like that. She has no experience whatsoever in commercial vehicle transportation. Never worked in it. And half the people there probably have never even worked in transportation. I think it's disgusting. I think they should remove half of the people in there, and some of the people who have got experience, who, you know, like me, I worked in corporate IT for a long time, 17 years, set up my own trucking company, and they should be hiring people with my type of experience, people who have worked in trucking, who have got the credentials to work in, like, corporate industries, IT, stuff like that. We should be looking for those type of credentials. It's people who have got experience or had experience in the transportation business to be able to run those departments, because the people who are in there now haven't got a clue, and that's why the system is such a mess and there's so much rampant fraud going on. People are leaving in droves, rates have been suppressed. We've got Russian and you know, tons of Russian companies posing as American companies. Half their staff are all hosted in foreign countries. They're paying no tax. They're suppressing wages because obviously they don't have to pay them, you know, a normal standard American wage. But then literally you phone up that company, and the telephones go through to a bunch of guys in Eastern Europe or Bulgaria or Romania or Russia or something like that. They've all got Eastern European and Russian style voices, so they're not based in the US. It's literally just all your dispatchers are offshore, and that needs to be clamped down because it's undermining the entire network of employees within the brokerage and the